Good evening, and welcome to the Israelite Nation Worldwide Ministries Friday Night Bible Study. I am Elder Jeffrey, and I'm here with Teacher Sophie and Teacher Anthony, and we are the St. Louis leadership here, the Israelite Nation Worldwide Ministries in St. Louis, Missouri. Happy Friday, and I'm thankful that you guys have taken the time to sort of be with us and to open up the God of Israel's Word, and for us to study and learn in this journey and understand our God, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob, and his family, his chosen family, the children of Israel. And so we're so thankful that you're here with us, and we want to get started. Hopefully we all have a very fruitful conversation and time well spent as we go through and discuss and talk and learn about this great, beautiful family that we have. So we are the topic. Well, before I get to the topic, I want to do some housekeeping. I want to make sure that I express, number one, Israelite Nation Worldwide Ministries, which you can find on our website. You can find on social media as well. We are not affiliated with any other groups that may be having a similar name. So if you want to find out about us, about what we believe, about who we are, come and talk to us. Come to our website at www.israelitenation.com, or find us again on social media, on YouTube, and also on Instagram. Secondly, when you guys are actually with us, we want to make sure that you guys have all your tools, right? So take notes, have your Bibles ready, read along as we're reading the various verses. In the chat, if you have a question, pose a question or comment or an insight, share it. Let this be a very fruitful conversation. Even though right now we're utilizing this medium so that we can connect with you, ideally it'd be great if we're in person in the same room, in the same place, so that we can converse and be able to really make sure we're all on the same page and learning together. With social media, then we're relying on you to kind of give us feedback. And so again, in the chat, hit the sevens if you really like what you're hearing, or ask a question. Give donations, for what we're doing all throughout the world to make sure and support this cause. Definitely are appreciated. Or send us an email, so we want to communicate with you. This is not just a one-way conversation, but we want to make sure that we're communicating with you and that we're giving you every opportunity to ask questions and to learn as we talk about these various topics. Additionally, have your King James Version of the Bible, right, so that we can go through that. Again, take notes. And also, if you can, for individuals who do not have that, I highly recommend The Truth, the Lie, and the Bible, as well as The Forgotten Israelites. These are books that are written by our Elder Shadrach, our master teacher, and 25, 30 years ago, but still very, very, very relevant, especially in your journey to understanding Israelite history and culture. All right, I think that's the housekeeping. Now we can kind of get to the topic. Again, just glad that you're here. Also, we just shout out, I'm thankful to the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob for sparing our lives to allow us to be here and communicate with each other. Also, Elder Shadrach for teaching us everything that you're hearing here, everything that we're speaking about, everything that we know about this culture and this beautiful family and this great God was taught to us by Elder Shadrach. The books was one of the sources, but also he has numerous lessons, and we've had the pleasure even to communicate with him one-on-one and to be taught by him. So, we always give our respect to our Elder Shadrach, because he's the one who taught us all these things. But also to the Supreme Council of the Israelite Nation Worldwide Ministries, who created this medium that we are speaking through. All through this pandemic, it seems like it's been a whole year. This year's been crazy, but consistently, every Friday, every Saturday, they've set this structure up to make sure that we will not be disconnected, but that we can, again, continue to edify one another, continue to open up God's Word, and be able to teach and also be able to share, again, this great legacy and this great family. So kudos to the Supreme Council, Israelite Nation Worldwide Ministries. Okay, now, let's get to the topic now. So last time, the St. Louis branch was given the opportunity to teach. Our topic was Seed of Abraham, right? Seed of Abraham. So if you guys haven't seen that, look through the history in some of the YouTubes, and it'll be there to give you some background. But we got some pretty good feedback from that. We actually, when we got into it, we kind of didn't even try to get through all the topics we wanted to in that lesson. So this is actually the Seed of Abraham Part 2. All right? Okay. It's Part 2. This is the last one. We're not going to do Part 3 before. We're going to get through this. So it's Part 2. So in part one, what we just saw that was fascinating is, and I'm not going to go through it, just give a little summary, but I want you to go and look at Seed of Abraham part one to kind of get that foundation. But in summary was just the significance of Abraham, which, I mean, we all know, but sometimes we just say it in passing, oh yeah, Father Abraham was the beginning and friend of God, okay. But when you really look into scriptures, his character was the defining factor between whether someone was successful or not successful.
Yes.
And that's not just me speaking. One of the things we brought out, especially in John chapter 8, this is last lesson, where Jesus Christ was talking to us, right, to Israelites, right? He said, I came to speak to the lost sheep of Israel, right, to kind of bring them back and let them understand what it really means to be an Israelite. And they were trying to understand him, and he was trying to discern, like, listen, if you are truly the seed of Abraham, it's not enough that you just have the blood and the DNA of Abraham running through your veins. If you are truly the seed of Abraham, you would do the works of Abraham. Right? And he said, if you're not doing the works of Abraham, then you're not really of the seed of Abraham. Right? You're of the seed of your father, the devil. Right? Because if you're of the seed of Abraham, then when I speak, you understand what I'm saying. Because my sheep hear my voice. Right?
Yes.
So I'm not going to get into the whole thing, but just please look at the first one to get that foundation. Because it's really fascinating when you think about that. And the reason relevant for us today is because as we are in this journey, all of us, right? We're in this new Egypt, this land of our enslavement, right? That we've been here for the past 400 years. And now at this time, it's the time of our redemption, right? And we know nothing happens by chance, right? These books written 30 years ago wasn't by chance, right? Not 100 years ago, 30 years ago. And we're here now seeing the revelations take place where at this juncture, people are waking up. So waking up to the truth of the being so blind, the knowledge of Israel is just the beginning of our journey. And that seems to be a theme we've repeated over and over again in the last video. But it's just the beginning. So as we attain knowledge, we also have to obtain understanding.
Yes.
And a part of the understanding is where our work really lies as we acquire knowledge is building up our character.
Yes.
Building up those attributes within us that allow us to be successful as Israelites. Knowledge is not going to cut it. It's not enough. It's not about just gobbling up knowledge. Because what it really is about, the goal of the knowledge is so that we can build the family of the God of Israel.
Yes.
Rebuild.
Rebuild.
After all the destruction that we've caused, the division, a part of our enslavement was dividing us out, the four corners of the earth. Not just physically, but also even mentally and psychologically and spiritually. As you come together, the biggest challenge all the time is not like what it says or what to do. It's, well, how do we work together?
Yeah.
Yes.
How do we stay together?
Yep.
How do we build? How do we let all these benefits benefit us as a nation and a family so we can build and truly be the greatest nation on this planet? Because that's really the goal.
Amen.
When Jesus Christ came, he said, don't you know you are the light of the world? Don't you understand who you are? Exactly,
Yeah.
right? And so so it's important. So, but the distinguishing factor that we're speaking about again is understanding the character of Abraham. And we just find it so fascinating. And so we looked back to see some of those characteristics, and we looked at Abraham's life, and we saw how some of those things came out. Any reflections on the last lesson to kind of get people?
That's the how amazing Abraham was, right? That he had so much favor with at that time God Almighty, that his offspring of thousands of generations would have that same privilege.
Yes.
That is, to me, it speaks so much to just the qualities of him.
Yeah.
And everything that he embodied.
Yeah.
And just really focus like, wow, he was so important. He was so special that God Almighty would make a covenant with him and his seed forever.
Right. Not just him, but him and his seed. That's
Forever.
Yeah.
That is just, it's wow. Like we were going through, it's just wow.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And just his obedience
Yes.
in the whole process, his journey in becoming this great person,
Right.
So it's, and not forgetting that he was just a man,
That's right.
That's
right.
Because we don't want to forget that he was just a man, because
Yeah.
we're like, okay, he was different.
Yeah.
Like, we can't do that,
Right.
But he was just
He's
a man.
He made
Just
mistakes.
like-
He made mistakes.
He did.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, so we can do it. It's attainable.
Yeah. Well, and especially if we're his seed.
You
That
exactly.
means it's
Yeah.
so
It's
it's in us.
It's
We
in our
have
blood.
it.
It's in our blood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know what? And that's the sad part, right? It's one of those things where it's like, if we were just something thrown on the other side, and we're just trying to emulate somebody or whatever, okay. But because we look at us as a people, we have the potential, and you can see that.
Oh my goodness.
Even in our lowest state, we can see the potential in us as a people, right? It's there. It's just, why can't we use it together and utilize it for our own betterment, right? This is why, right? Because we haven't mastered the character of Abraham, right?
Yes.
In that, one of the things that before we started the film, that we started to read a little bit, turn to Psalms chapter 105. Psalms chapter 105. And again, just think about what we're speaking about, and just look through all the scriptures and sort of see how Abraham is always sort of the center of the epitome of what we're really trying to get to, right?
Yes.
And we see that so many times. So Psalms 105 is a great chapter to read the whole thing, but I'm gonna just read a few of the verses. I'm gonna start at verse 4. And I'm gonna go to 4, I think, to maybe 10. All right, Psalms 105 and verse 4. Seek the Lord and his strength. Seek his face evermore. Remember his marvelous works that he has done, his wonders and judgments of his mouth. O ye seed of Abraham, his servant, ye children of Jacob, his chosen. He is the Lord our God. His judgments are in all the earth. He has remembered his covenant forever. He has, like you were saying, right? He remembered his covenant forever. The word which he commanded to 1,000 generations. Which covenant he made with Abraham, and his oath with Isaac, and confirmed this unto Jacob for a law, and to Israel for an everlasting covenant. Right? Everlasting covenant. That's what we're talking about.
Yes.
Everlasting covenant.
It's not far back there.
No.
Everlasting.
No, it didn't happen. So when we talk about that relationship that God Almighty, the Creator, had with Abraham, he extending that to us. So like you said, it is possible for us to attain that status of Abraham, that character of Abraham, because it's the same God. It's the same God who made that relationship with our father Abraham.
It is so amazing. I always love it because it never stops at just Abraham. It always talks about his seed.
Absolutely.
Always talks about his seed.
Yes.
To let us know here today that it's the same.
Yeah.
It is still the same.
Yeah.
We, of course, right, we have to get it together. We have to get it together. But it's the same as it was then as it is now.
Yes.
And that's, to me, it's amazing when we see that as it plays out today.
Yes.
Like you said, even in our lowest state, we see those gifts. We see those benefits.
Right.
It's just about packaging it the right way to serve our God effectively.
Right.
And it's there for us.
And the recipe for the right way is here.
Yes.
That's the recipe for the right way, right? There's a lot of people with good intentions over the course of our time here, and made some improvements and some movements, maybe a little bit, but end of the day, if we don't have the right foundation, it's not going to be successful.
It's not going to matter.
If you don't have the right foundation, if you don't have the right spirituality, it's not going to matter.
Consistency.
Absolutely. And it's all because we are Abraham's seed.
Yes.
Anyone else can do
Whatever
and build that tower using whatever.
Yes,
But
whatever
for Abraham's seed, we have to adopt Abraham's character.
Yes.
Right? That's the part of it that's just so important.
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
And I remember last time we jotted down a couple notes. Probably can go top of our head a lot of these things, but you mentioned, what is Abraham's character? What are some of the things that we showed, especially in the past video, about his character? Obedience.
Obedience.
Oh,
absolutely.
Stands out.
Yeah.
Peacekeeper.
Peacekeeper.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We saw that. Yes.
Oh my goodness, just to know, right? We know, right? Today, everybody wants to fight.
Yes.
And stand. Hey, I'm tired of being the boots on our neck, right?
Right.
Want to fight. But there's a time for that.
Right.
And Abraham understood that more than anybody else.
Right.
did.
Right.
It's like, okay,
Peacekeeper. Right. This bigger picture here.
Yes.
Right. Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. And a lot of, and again, all the attributes that Jesus Christ exhibited, and people want to sort of take that philosophy based on him and make it something else that it's not.
oh yeah,
It's the truth. he's just repeating
what Abraham.
exactly the same thing. So the whole thing about turn the other cheek, that's what that is.
Yes.
That's not about being a victim to somebody. It's about if your brother wants to get a coat, give him 2 coats, right?
Yes.
It's not about. It's understanding. It's a bigger picture here.
Yeah.
This relationship is bigger than a coat,
Yeah.
right? Or that we're trying to build this nation and this family.
It's not about just one person.
Exactly.
No,
Exactly.
yeah.
It's not about you.
That-
That's right. It's not about you.
Yes,
But it's about your contributions to the whole, right?
Exactly.
And to the God of Israel and to this family. And
Yes,
so we got to get through that. And if you think about it, that's really the only way to be, right? I think we live in such an individualized society that it's hard for us to understand that the value of family and the collective.
Oh yeah.
Right? Because
Oh,
everyone
yeah.
kind of just do their own thing. Everyone just does their own
the
thing.
here and now. I'm
Yeah.
not even worried about the next generation, which is my child.
Right.
Which is the children. We're worried about here and now. What can I
Right.
get?
Yeah.
And we know the disservice it does, right? Because after so many years, and we pass away, the children are in the same predicament that we were in, and we left nothing for them.
Exactly.
And we cannot continue.
And that's
to
the
do that.
wrong mindset. You know what that mindset is? The mindset goes all the way back to the time of Noah. Eat, drink, and be merry,
Merry.
for tomorrow we die. That's that mindset. That's not the Israelite mindset.
Oh, no,
The Israelite
no,
mindset
no,
is
no.
investing in myself to build myself up so I can be of value and service to the God of Israel. But that's going to happen through me being of service to my brethren
Exactly.
and to my family and to my children and to generations that haven't come yet. And respecting those that have passed on from before.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
that family transcends generations, and so that's why when we speak about our God and the name He gave us, right? It's not some name that's there, just a name. It's a name. In His name is our lineage, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. So it's really clear about who you are, who your family is. It's not just who you see right now, but it's all those who've come before. I'm the God of the living, not the God of the dead.
The constant reminder on your tongue. Because you can't say it without thinking about it.
Absolutely. So some of the attributes: obedience, faith, peacekeeper, humility,
Yes.
right? Compromising, of good reputation to his neighbors, right? Even those who weren't Israelites, right?
Yes.
So just those are a few of those attributes, and you think about what do we need for us to be successful here in 2020. As we build this nation, those are the same attributes.
Exactly.
If we're not working on those attributes, but we're only working on knowledge, that's not going to get us anywhere. That's not going to build the house, right? What's going to build the house is how fervent we are in making sure that we're exhibiting those attributes that the God of Israel is looking for and needs that caused Him to say, I not only am I going to make covenant with you, but you and your seed for 1,000 generations. Wouldn't it be something for the God of Israel to say, I'm not just going to be covenant with you, but with you and 1,000 generations of your seed because of your character, right? I mean, that's something.
Man, so thankful. So thankful.
So what we wanted to do was look at some of those attributes through our family history and be able to see kind of where they played, where they were where they didn't go well, just this sort of thing. So we kind of understand how does this look when you actually put it into practice.
Absolutely, especially in today's world, right, where it seems like the left and the right is, do you know who you are? Where even when we knew who we were, that problem still existed.
Absolutely.
It's not contained to just, I don't know who I am, so
right.
This is why I do these things. Like, no, this was always a part of us.
Right.
They didn't have that excuse.
Exactly.
That's right.
I mean,
That's
it's
right.
an excuse for us right now.
Oh, absolutely.
Right?
Yeah. Right. Exactly. That's right.
Yeah.
I know who I am. So. But now they knew who they were. There was not a question, but yet and still that wasn't. Unless it wasn't enough.
Exactly.
They knew who they were, and still it wasn't enough.
Still was
knowledge.
disconnect.
Yeah.
Still was disconnect.
Yeah.
So I want to jump somewhere real quick. Number 16, and I really encourage everyone to read it. It's a great story, right?
Number 16?
Number 16.
Yeah.
I'm going to kind of jump around, kind of get into this story, but so a little bit background. Children of Israel left Egypt in the wilderness. The process, they get the law, statutes, and commandments, right? And, they're on their journey, right? Well, while they're along on their journey, right? Of course, right?
Let me just pause a second. Just real quick. I just want to say this. And I know before coming into Israel, and you read the stories in the book, and it's like, here's a story here, here's a story here, here's a story here, here's a story here, different personality, all this stuff, exciting, great story, just by themselves, right? But I just want to make it, focus on the obvious, and repeat the obvious. All the stories we have is one family.
Yes.
It's one family.
Good point.
Right?
Great point.
So
Great
we
point.
talk about Abraham, Isaac,
Isaac,
Jacob, the 12 tribes. That they go, go all the way down to Jesus till now.
Yes.
Right? It's one family. To me, reminds me of, and I just want to make sure everyone's clear that's listening. Remember Roots?
Yeah.
When that came out, remember Roots? Right? I know you guys are old enough to when it first came out back in the 70s when it first came out, and it was a whole week, all right, of show. And each show, even if you missed one, it was a good story. All of them are stories of themselves, but it's really the story of one family. And it's one family. This would happen during these years, and he had children, then it's their story, then it's their story. And you can look at it and forget. Matter of fact, in the series, some of the later generations really forgot the story.
Yes.
So they didn't know the connection between
Yes. Yeah.
whatever. So as an example to show, all these stories are connected, right? So we talk about this story's coming up or any of the others. These are not separate, distinct people in some faraway place and doing whatever. It's one family. Just over time, these are the things that's happened to them.
No, that's an excellent point to point out, because so many times it's almost, they put it over here and pocket it and say, oh, well, that's just a completely different situation.
Yeah.
This one over here is different. And like you said, different generation,
Right.
same family.
Right.
So, no, excellent point. Excellent
So
point.
sorry again. Yeah. Mhm.
So, no, that's fine. So, number 16. Again, I'm going to jump around a little bit, but please, when you get time, go back and read it. Great story to learn from, definitely. So, I'm going to start at verse 1. Number 16, verse 1. Now Korah, the son of Izhar, the son of Kohath, the son of Levi, and Dathan, and Abiram, the sons of Eliab, and On, the son of Pelet, the sons of Reuben, took men, and they rose up before Moses with certain of the children of Israel, 250 princes of the assembly, famous in the congregation, men of renown. And they gathered themselves together against Moses and against Aaron, and said unto them, Ye take too much upon you, seeing all the congregation are holy, every one of them, and the Lord is among them. Wherefore then lift ye yourselves above the congregation of the Lord. And when Moses heard it, he fell upon his face. I just want to stop right here for a
Yeah, like I
second.
said, let's make sure.
Now,
It's nothing new.
Yeah.
now we see, right? They're just,
Yeah.
these aren't, just everyday men. These are men of renown. These are famous men in Israel.
Mm-hmm.
Going to Moses saying, hey, you know what? Too much work on yourself, but you know what? We're all holy. we're all God's children.
Mm-hmm.
Who are you to lead us?
Right.
Who are you to say these things unto us, right?
Right.
So we see instantly, right, that almost boastful personality, right? Just to go and just say,
Yeah.
oh no, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter who's chosen, who's elected. We can all do the job. We can all do what we want to do.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And instantly, it's just that characteristic that we see even today. That same logic of, I don't want to be taught, right? No humility.
Right.
There is none, right? Considering the journey that they just went through, right?
Yes. Let's talk about that. What's the context? What's happening that Korah is making these points to, or this thing against Moses? What's the environment?
Well, they're in the wilderness, right?
Okay.
And they, through disobedient, right, constant disobedient, the God of Israel is like, no, you know what? This generation, you're not going to the promised land.
Right.
You cannot go into the promised land just because of just the disobedient, the murmuring, the just everything.
Mm-hmm.
And so,
Yeah.
now
So Moses was sent to the children to free us out of Egypt.
out of the bondage,
The
right?
story of the Red Sea, so on and so
Mhm.
forth. And so the goal was to come out of Egypt, go through the Red Sea, receive the laws,
Yes.
and
And
go
go
into
to
the
the
land.
promised land.
They go
Yeah.
to the land, right? The whole process would have been maybe 2 years, or maybe if that most. Right?
Yeah.
Because there was time for them to kind of
To build up.
Yeah, exactly. And then right.
But in no moment's time,
No.
we went right back, especially when you consider the crying out that we did in Egypt.
Yeah.
The real crying
Oh, right.
out. Same
Exactly,
way today.
right.
Same
Yeah.
way today.
Yeah.
Just the crying out. And then we're free through this miraculous. It's not like you were just free, like, okay, go your way and everything
Right.
will be fine.
Right.
No, the earth did something that had never happened before.
Mhm.
The God of Israel caused this,
Opened up.
the
Red
waters to
Sea.
split on dry land.
Right.
This amazing event that has never taken place in history.
Yeah.
And even then, within that,
Yeah.
I want to go back to Egypt. I
Yeah.
just want to go back to Egypt.
As soon as problems face, that's what they want to say.
we
Exactly.
instantly revert back to that of what we know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Murmuring,
That's it.
exactly.
being ungrateful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who that sound like? Who that sound like? Who that sound like? Yeah. No, absolutely.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
What's the biggest thing people say the problem in the black community?
Unity.
Unity.
No unity.
It's the
No
exact same
unity.
thing. Yeah.
We have no unity. And we keep saying, and
Yeah.
let's think about this today. It's the white man.
Mm-hmm.
The white man. Had they never did this to us, we would have unity.
Yeah.
Had they never imposed this on us, we wouldn't hate each other.
Right.
Not true.
Right. Right.
But we see from the
Yeah.
scriptures,
Yeah.
this
There's
is
not an Egyptian in sight,
Yeah.
right? Egypt is gone. They're all dead and killed in the Red Sea.
But
yet
you know,
and
it's
still.
amazing
Yeah.
how that excuse, and I won't get too far, that excuse is put on the white man, but it's never saying, but the Egyptians, we were enslaved in Egypt.
Yeah.
So did the Egyptians put this on us?
Right.
Especially with so many of us, clinging on to that culture,
Yeah.
and it's never come up. And it's
Yeah.
just, a little side piece that's always amazing to me, how it's just skipped over, just
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
I don't know, it couldn't have been them.
That's why, it's so important that we have these conversations, because I think society is really big on like the soundbite, especially on social media. So little clip. So you see a little clip, hey, that sounds good. That don't mean it's true.
Mm-hmm.
It may sound good. We have a good picture, or what they call it, memes now, or whatever.
Yeah.
It don't mean it's true, right? So it sounds good to say, oh, the white man, or whatever, or whatever that may be, just as an example. But it's not true, right?
No,
It's not true.
Oh,
The same thing. Same thing here, right? We even get into the meat of it, but just to set it up so that, they just got out of Egypt. For them, their biggest issue was the Egyptians.
Yes.
Get this taskmaster off my backs,
Yes.
please.
Yeah.
Come and save us. So the God of Israel sends Moses.
They were killing our babies.
That's right, exactly right. So that's right. So that's obviously worth calling to the God of Israel for help. Absolutely. So he sends Moses, and like you said, going through the Red Sea, and their enemies are destroyed. Now there's no one around.
Not another.
They're in the wilderness, them and the God of Israel. And so the point I wanted to talk about is that one of the things that I'd heard on another show, they talked about, well, it was the mixed multitude that caused the problem. Right? It was the mixed multitude mixed multitude came out, that caused the problem. That is not. Who's Korah again? Did we just look at the lineage of Korah?
Yeah.
Korah was not
And
mixed
Israelite.
multitude. These were not
Yeah.
mixed multitude.
Yeah.
Right?
It was
These
Israelites.
were family.
Tracing their lineage all the way back
All
to
the way
Abraham.
back. That's right. This is not mixed multitude. These are Israelites. This is us, right? We got to be truthful about us, right? We can be a terrible people.
Oh,
Let's be
my
honest. We can to each other. That's
Yes.
not even to anybody else. To each other. And so let's go. I have enough.
Yeah,
let's go.
absolutely, absolutely.
Make sure
So-
we got the context.
You can imagine, right? They're telling Moses this, right? And I'll just read one verse, then we're going to kind of, skip around and get into it, right? Verse 5. And he spake verse 4. And when Moses heard it, he fell upon his face. And he spake unto Korah and unto all his company, saying, Even tomorrow the Lord will show who are his and who is holy, and will cause him to come near unto him, even him whom he has chosen, will he cause to come near unto him. So the humility of Moses.
Yeah.
Not to say I'm chosen. The God of Israel chose me to do this. He says, even tomorrow, the God of Israel will say who He's chosen.
Yeah.
Not being boastful, just if it's you,
Didn't
then it's
argue
you.
with him.
No.
Didn't
Yes.
argue.
He fell on his face. When Moses heard this, he fell on his face. Yeah.
And just was like,
Peacemaker.
oh my goodness.
Peacemaker.
Because imagine, in any other situation, especially we know today, right?
Oh.
Has a right to be upset. And you know what I'm going through with you guys?
Yeah.
You know what you guys have put me through?
Yeah.
And you're going to come and tell me
After
that,
everything Moses did.
oh my
Right.
goodness.
Because he was living his life, minding his business.
At 80 years old.
Right? He had his family, he had his children,
Yeah.
he's raising them, he's ready to
Yeah.
go, but he was called to do this job. He did this job valiantly, and this is the thanks that you give me?
Yeah.
It wasn't for me. You guys would still
still
be back in
doing
Egypt.
shit.
Right? And so now you want to just, his mutiny against me, like it's just, where that comes from is just so.
And Moses understanding, right? I'm not going to fight against you. I'm not going to do any of this.
Yeah.
We're just going to see tomorrow.
Look at that humility. Look at
And knowing, right? Knowing the camp, right? Because if these men are renowned coming to Moses, then it kind of lets you know what the conversation is like in the
Yeah.
camp.
Right.
It really lets you know what's going on in the camp for them, because in
Oh,
order
right.
for them
Oh,
to
right.
go,
Because he has people that
It's not just
is
Korah.
listening to
It's
him.
not just Korah. Exactly.
No.
That's right.
Now he
Oh,
has,
right.
he
He has
has his little
250
group over there.
princes.
Exactly.
Important
That
people
is
throughout
so
gonna
for
be-
them to go, that means that the people are coming to them and saying, "Hey, I don't know, man. This
I don't
is
know about
just
So they've been talking
They've
before
been
he even
talking.
got to Moses.
They've been talking.
So,
absolutely."
yeah.
And so you can imagine, right? A part of that peacekeeper was like,
Yeah.
"Let's just wait a minute. Let's just
Yeah.
see. Let's just see."
Yeah, that's true. And because you think about it, right? Is all these individuals that are organizing themselves? It reminds me of early on when his father-in-law had set
Yes.
up that structure,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Where he set up early on when they first came out of Egypt, right?
Mhm.
And Moses being the leader, right? And
Trying to do it all by
everybody had, again, anytime you have more than two people together, there's going to be disagreements about something, right? Whatever. Now you have 2 million people, right? Just
goodness.
600,000 men. So that's there's children and there's women and there's old people and things like that, right? So it's a couple million people, I would estimate. Now you're going to have this disputes. There's something going on, and Moses took it upon himself to hear everybody.
Everyone.
Moses, I got a question. Moses, about this. Moses, you know what? I don't think he took this, and I have half, and he should do. Moses this, and so his father-in-law Jethro had said, "Watch them do it." And be like, "Moses, you can't.
You can't do this by
You're gonna
yourself.
kill yourself. You're gonna kill yourself."
Every single one.
Yeah, you can't. So listen, divide up and get some good men that you think have good attributes. Divide them up and let them. Let them decide these small matters, and then if anything bubbles up that they can't solve, then let it,
Bring it to you.
let them bring it to you, right? So do that. So you had people that were important all throughout the tribes that was able to kind of do that. But I said why it's so important that leadership needs to be in one accord,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Because if leadership not in one accord,
then
it's not just that
Yes.
one person now, that one leader who
Yeah.
people have been going to for advice and for comfort and for guidance. Now, if he's going one
Trickles
way,
down.
he's taking that whole group with
Whole
him.
group,
Yeah.
yeah.
So it's important that one accord, which is our elder taught us that is so
Oh
important.
my
that-
goodness.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
Mhm. Absolutely, absolutely. So I mean, another part of that too is in our law, and this is in our law. It specifically says, and it's like Deuteronomy 16 or so. In addition to you have your laws, statutes, and commandments, and this is what you do, the day you do it, whatever. It also speaks about, and in all your dwellings, you're going to have priests and judges. And if there is any issue that's going before, come before the priest.
Yes.
And let him decide what the issue is, right? And whatever the judgment is, that's law.
That's it.
Be at peace with it. Be
And
at
if you
peace.
don't follow that law, then you'd be cut
No,
off
you're
from
gone.
Israel.
Yeah.
So it's just as bad as breaking the law.
Consequences.
So that judgment becomes the law. So some people in modern day say, "Oh, what the role of the priest now? Since you don't have to do the sacrifices anymore, the role of the priest is doing the judgments."
Yes. Yes.
Right. So look that up so you guys can understand.
Still got to lead.
You still got to lead. We still have to be able to organize the people. It's
Yes.
not right.
Don't be Korah.
Don't be Korah. Exactly. And so when there's a structure, so that's the thing. People can't. People find it hard to abide in a structure. A structure where there is leadership and guidance. Right.
And to that point, right, in this story, these are priests. These are priests. These are priests that are doing this.
Mm-hmm.
So you could just imagine
Yes.
the disconnect on that level
Right.
is
It affects the whole nation.
it's at the
Absolutely.
top.
Absolutely.
It's at the top.
Absolutely.
It's completely dismantled.
And to question the leadership that's been put in place.
Oh my goodness. Yes.
We talked about this last time, right? Obedience.
Obedience.
Obedience only comes into place
Obedience.
when you disagree or don't understand. And so it's okay for them not to understand.
Yes.
But or even disagree. But when it comes to the structure of the leadership, take it upon himself. That's what
It's oh my goodness. So we'll continue on, right?
Okay.
Real quick, I just want to read verse 9. We're just even going to that point, right?
Yeah.
And this is Moses talking to them, right? Seemeth it but a small thing unto you that the God of Israel has separated you from the congregation of Israel to bring you near to himself, to do the service of the tabernacle of the Lord, and to stand before the congregation to minister unto them.
They had leadership. They weren't nobody, right?
Yes.
They were important people.
Very
Yeah, exactly.
important, to the point that Moses is telling, how can you think it's small that the God of Israel selected you
Yeah.
to be near unto him in this tabernacle?
Right.
Like, what are you thinking right now?
Mm-hmm.
You think this is just...
He wanted more.
Yeah.
You know, wanted more.
Yeah.
It's such a trait. I mean, as I said before, we see it today in our community and our, you know, even in the nation sometimes.
Yeah.
and just building up.
Yeah.
And you know, when we read this, I can imagine the emotion that's coming over Moses, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because as he's, you know, saying this to them, right, to the point to where even in verse 15, right, and Moses was very wroth and said unto the Lord, respect not thou their offering. I have not taken one ass from them, neither have I hurt one of them.
Mm.
So you can see from the beginning, right, fell on his face and just like, come on, y'all. I know we're not doing this. To the point where he's like, you're disrespecting our God.
Right.
To the point where he's like, you know what? Don't respect them. None of this.
Mm-hmm.
None of this, for they have just forsaken everything.
Right.
And they're causing this congregation to go to earth. That
Right.
is...
If there's no
But
unity,
this
they can't get
yeah,
anything
this
done.
has been a struggle for Moses though ever since they left.
Right. Yes.
From the moment they left,
Yes.
this has been a struggle for Moses
Yes. Yeah.
to get them to come together
Yes,
and
one
to
accord.
yeah.
They want to call it. They're always questioning. And the first thing they say is, I want to go back to
Yeah,
Egypt.
yeah.
Isn't that crazy? After they cried out against Egypt, right? They want to go back to that.
So even here, you could, you know, you're like, Moses already know, you know, there's not even a point. There's no reason for me to argue with these people no more.
Right.
And this,
You know, I'm not gonna get nowhere.
Right. Exactly.
I gotta, you know,
Yes.
God of Israel gotta take care of
Got
this.
escalated. Got escalated.
Yeah.
Yeah. Upper management got to take
Upper
care of this. Yeah.
it's mind blowing. Even
Yeah.
as we continue on in the story, it gets so much deeper.
Yeah.
Right, so so give a little background, right? So they go through a process, right? They're special in Israel, right, for how we do things, and you know, take the censors, and you know, you go and do this, right? And whoever the God of Israel will have respect unto do, right?
Yeah.
Like Moses said, we will see tomorrow, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so we're going to read what the God of Israel's response is to all of this, right? So let's go to verse 20. And again, I urge you on your own time to really go over the entire
Read all of
chapter.
chapter 16. It's
Yeah,
a very
absolutely.
fascinating story. Yeah.
Verse 20. And the Lord spake unto Moses and unto Aaron, saying, separate yourselves from among this congregation, that I may consume them in a moment. Now, but even then, and they fell up on their faces and said, O God, the God of the spirits and of all flesh, shall one man sin, and wilt thou be wroth with all the congregation?
So wait a minute. So God of Israel was so upset. He was just going to.
Oh, no,
Not
not
just
just them.
he was going to get
Not
everybody.
the entire congregation.
Whoa.
Because of this matter.
Yeah.
And it really shows the respect that the God of Israel even had unto Moses.
Yeah.
That when they do this against you, I've chosen you.
Yes.
Like, no, I would not tolerate this, because we know it started at the
Don't
lower level
tolerate
first,
disrespect. Absolutely, yes.
and it crept
It's
its
a
way
matter
up.
of time before it's disrespecting all the way up.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
And for Moses and Aaron to say, wait. I know they did this, but are you going to destroy the entire congregation? That humility, that's...
What does it remind you of?
Oh my God,
Abraham, right? Exactly.
Abraham.
Yes, Abraham, exactly. That same thing.
Lot.
And
Lot.
Lot,
And
exactly.
Lot.
Yeah, humble before Lot.
Yes.
And even the conversation
Yes.
when he was gonna, they were gonna God was gonna destroy
Destroy
Sodom and Gomorrah. Yeah, exactly. He said, no.
Yeah, like, whoa, wait a minute.
Let's can we negotiate here?
And let's just, and let's see where it goes. Now, like you said, as the story gets on, right? And again, going to kind of jump around it. We see how the God of Israel deals with this situation. And for, because it's never done in a simple manner. It's done in a manner for correction for then and forever.
Right.
That this will not happen again.
Yeah.
So I'm going to jump down to verse 28.
Okay.
And Moses said, hereby ye shall know that the Lord has sent me unto do all these works, for I have not done them of mine own mind. If these men die the common death of all men, or if they be visited after the visitation of all men, then the Lord had not sent me. But if the Lord make a new thing, and the earth open her mouth and swallow them up, withal that appertain unto them, and they go down quick unto the pit, then he shall understand that these men have provoked the Lord. And it came to pass that he had made an end of speaking all these words, that the ground clave asunder that was under them, and the earth opened her mouth and swallowed them up, and their houses, and all the men that appertain unto Korah, and all their goods. They and all that appertained to them went down alive into the pit, and the earth closed upon them, and they perished from among the congregation. And all Israel that were round about them fled at the cry of them, for they said, lest the earth swallow us up also.
Wow.
And there came out of a fire from the Lord and consumed the 250 men that offered incense.
Wow.
Whew.
Wow. So summarize that for those. Yeah.
You know, you're reading this and I'm thinking, they're going against Moses. This is the Moses that's been fighting Pharaoh for them. This is the Moses that they said, oh no, you talk to the God of Israel.
That's right, yeah.
You
that's
know,
right, that's
this
right.
is the Moses that, prayed to the God of Israel about the Red Sea.
That's right.
This is not like it's a different person now leading them. Yeah. This is somebody that
same one. He
same person.
Man that came down from heaven. Exactly.
And I'm like, how now all of a sudden you want to do what Moses has been doing?
Yeah.
Like, how dare you?
Absolutely.
Like,
yes.
And for him to say, if these men died common death, then then you're gonna say, okay, he just did this.
Yeah.
But if these men die a death that has never been seen before, and if the earth opened up and swallowed them up, then you know.
Yes.
You will know.
Yes. Be clear. It'll be clear.
Oh my goodness, imagine that sight.
No, I can't.
It said they went down into the pit alive.
Yeah.
So it's not like they
what
just.
A horrible death.
I know.
Oh my God. Them and all their goods.
Yeah.
So anything they touched, everything.
Everything's gone.
It went into that
Wife,
pit.
children.
Nothing is there.
Ugh, bad God.
Oh,
I know, right? God of love.
God of love.
God of love, huh?
God of love, yes.
God of order, right?
Exactly.
God of order.
Oh,
God of truth. God of structure,
Yes.
right?
And this is such an, again, the whole book, but this, I urge you on your own time to really read Numbers chapter 16, because it goes even further into more, of our mindset, but it's definitely a good read to really show that who the God of Israel sends.
Right.
This is not up for negotiation.
Right.
This is not up for, well, I feel like we can go in this different direction.
Yeah.
No.
And so these are all, again, just to reiterate, the seed of Abraham. Korah was the seed of Abraham and all those people. Yeah. And Moses was too. Yes. But they didn't, let's talk about the exhibiting the character of Abraham, right? You already spoke about, Moses as far as, being obedient, of course, but also the humility, the peacemaker, trying to make peace with them, even though someone is attacking you, trying to make peace with them. And
making peace with the God of Israel.
Yeah. Yeah, friend of God, like Moses, like Abraham was. And look on the other side, though, the Korah and the other guys, what they exhibited, not having the character, right? But the pridefulness. I can be the leader, right? I can't humble myself
we are all
to you. Right, yeah, we'll all do that. What you got? Take too much upon yourself. I can do that too, right? We're all Abraham's seed, right?
Yep.
So, that whole, we can see the negative characteristics. So again, they both had the knowledge, but the difference between whether you go in the hole or not was the character of Abraham that you're exhibiting in yourself, right? And these are things that no one's perfect. We may not be quote unquote born with them per se, but the potential's there if we work on it and focus on those things. What we're trying to build up.
Yeah, something we gotta
absolutely.
work on and build. Yeah.
I would say this story is you guys know one of my favorite stories.
Yes,
just because it illustrates all those characteristics and so much more.
Yeah.
Because we see Israel on full display.
Yeah. The
good and the bad.
Absolutely.
Right.
And
it's inside business. And so same thing as we're building up this nation, people have to understand you have to have the humility to be part of an organization that has a structure, that has priests, has elders, a supreme council, right? And so we have this structure that's in place so that we all can move along and get in one accord, right? We're all over the globe, right? We're in England, we're in Canada, we're in the US. If we don't have structure, then everyone just goes off and does their own thing. There is no nation. There is no family.
And we're still doing the same things that our forefathers did.
Absolutely.
You know, we're
Yes.
not, reinventing this wheel.
Absolutely.
The structure that we have is what we've always done.
Absolutely. That's right.
So,
Was set before us.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right. So thankful to our again our elder Shadrach for teaching us that and showing us that and showing that it works.
yes.
Yes.
Showing that it works. And we can understand that, and so it's I think this is a great story that you went over to kind of see those characters and why they're so important.
And what you put in is exactly what you're going
What
to
you
get
get
out.
at, yes.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go on to our next story then, I think. And again, this is in
yes.
our lineage. This is in our lineage, right?
Mm-hmm.
Shortly after, eventually the children of Israel do get to their
Right.
promised land,
Mhm.
right? And they go into the land under Joshua, after the next generation, right? And so Joshua's job was to subdue the land
Mhm.
and to divide the land so the tribes have their various land. And he did that in his lifetime. And then once they do that, then there was peace, right? Then we go into the book of Judges, right? The book of Judges, right? And the book of Judges is, to me, again, when I first came into Israel, to me that was eye-opening.
Ooh, yes.
Because
Yes.
I knew some stories into Judges. Like I knew about Samson, I knew about that, but I didn't know he was a judge. Right?
No, you just thought-
it's a story.
Warrior,
Again, I didn't
yeah.
know the lineage of it, right? The
Right.
family of it.
Right.
And so a lot of other stories in Judges. But Judges is a time, again, right after that we get into the land and things are not going too well. And there's a term that gets repeated over and over again. And we're going to read it in a
Oh,
second.
yeah.
And then we want to see as a family, sort of how do we adjust to that? All right. So let's turn to Judges chapter 6. Judges chapter 6. All right. And I'm going to start at verse 1 because, again, that puts the whole context, right? All right. Judges chapter 6. And this is a term that's repeated often in Judges. And the children of Israel did evil in the sight of the Lord. And the Lord delivered them into the hand of Midian 7 years. And the hand of Midian prevailed against Israel. And because of the Midianites, the children of Israel made the dens which are in the mountains and the caves and strongholds. And so it was, when Israel had sown, that the Midianites came up, and the Amalekites and the children of the east, even they came up against them. And they encamped against them and destroyed the increase of the earth, till thou come into Gaza, and left no sustenance for Israel, neither sheep, nor ox, nor ass. For they came up with their cattle and their tents, and they came as grasshoppers for multitude. For both they and their camels were without number, and they entered into the land to destroy it. And Israel was greatly impoverished because of the Midianites, and the children of Israel cried unto the Lord. So let me just pause there a second.
Oof.
Yeah. So it's a bad situation that we're in as children of Israel, right? Bad situation, impoverished. You have people around us that are taking advantage of us.
Mhm.
We can't even live in the open, where it's like
Yeah.
it's out in the caves,
Yeah.
because not just one or two, but they all just coming to just take
Whatever we, even the food, the crop, they just come in.
and take it. And we have no power to stand against them, right? This is us. This is not like some people. These are our great grandparents that are living through this, right? Totally. But it starts out with the very first line. Why is this happening to us? The children of Israel did evil in the sight of the Lord, and the Lord delivered them into the hand of Midian 7 years. This is a form of enslavement.
That was
Right.
so, when first coming into Israel, my mind was completely blown. Because I'm thinking, who did this to us? Who did this to us?
Right, and you can blame the Midianites.
Oh my
those
goodness.
Midianites, just get
Oh my
rid of them.
goodness.
That's their fault.
And
Yeah.
upon learning that was just like, huh?
It's our fault.
Like, our God sent us into captivity?
Mm-hmm.
And just, wow, yeah.
Absolutely.
Consequence.
Absolutely. So, but this is not isolated. We're not just picking this out. Read the book of Judges, get a chance, right? And go through.
Oh,
You'll
over
see
and
that
over.
over and over again, right? The children of Israel did evil in the sight of the Lord, right? Which means not listening to the priest, not following the instructions, not following the Lord's statute commandments, not wanting to be humble and be part of the structure, not wanting to, all those, not having the character of Abraham. Right? That's doing evil in the sight of the Lord. And doing those things so that now God of Israel allows them to be, this happened to them, and again, happened several times. So in this situation then, and it always ends the same too, where, and like I said in verse 6, children of Israel cried unto the Lord. So over and over again, cried unto
Too
the Lord.
bad. Get spanked and then go.
Yeah.
I know.
They want to do their own thing until they can't take it no more.
Just like today.
Just like
Just
today.
like today.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it came to pass, when the children of Israel cried unto the Lord because of the Midianites, that the Lord sent a prophet unto the children of Israel, which said unto them, and so to me it's just so interesting, because the God of Israel put us into enslavement, but yet as a loving father, when we cry to him, he still hears.
Yes.
He still hears, right? He still hears us. Thank you for the mercy
Oh, yes.
of our Father and our
absolutely.
God of not casting us away,
Amen.
but that he still hears. Let's not make him have to cast us away anymore. Let's let this be the last time.
Oh, yes.
Because if you read again, over and over again, these scriptures, it happens over and over and over again, and we're living proof. Look over here in the land of our captivity. But in that, the Lord sent a prophet and said, "Thus saith the Lord God of Israel, I brought you up from Egypt and brought you forth out of the house of bondage. And I delivered you out of the hand of the Egyptians and out of the hand of all that oppressed you, and drave them out from before you and gave you their land. And I said unto you, I am the Lord your God. Fear not the gods of the Amorites, in whose land ye dwell, but ye have not obeyed my voice. And there came an angel of the Lord." And that's repeated over and over again. And that's why it's called the book of Judges, because in other places, here it says a prophet, in other places it says he rolls up judges to tell them the same thing. The reason to judge and say, the reason why we're suffering is because we're not following the God of Israel.
Right.
And we're not following our structure that we have, right? And
And he didn't say because of these nations.
no, he didn't say it's because
No,
of
it's
them.
always because
Yes.
of what we do.
Yeah, it's an internal job.
Mhm.
That's right. And there came an angel of the Lord and sat under an oak, which was in Ophrah, that pertaineth unto Joash, the Abiezrite. And his son Gideon threshed wheat by the winepress to hide it from the Midianites. And we understood why he was hiding it. And the angel of the Lord appeared unto him and said unto him, The Lord is with thee, thou mighty man of valor. And Gideon said unto him, O my Lord, if the Lord be with us, why then is all this befallen us? And where be all his miracles which our fathers told us of, saying, Did not the Lord bring us up from Egypt? But now the Lord has forsaken us and delivered us into the hands of the Midianites. So let me pause there a second. All right. So the angel's coming to him to start this conversation with him. Starts by saying, "The Lord is with you, mighty man." Yeah. And his response is,
Really?
"I don't know. I don't think so. I don't see any evidence of that. Look at what he's threshing his wheat and have to hide it from his enemies because they're going to take advantage of him."
And to say, where are all these miracles that he performed for our fathers that
That's
they
right.
told us of?
That's right. That's right.
And to bring that, it's amazing when you look at the correlation between when the prophet came and said, "The God of your fathers who delivered you out of the hand," and that's the exact same thing that Gideon repeated, right?
Mm-hmm.
These are the miracles. Where is he?
Right.
What is going on?
Right.
And again, it just reminds me so much of today, right?
Right.
That when we first understand who we are, that's the first thing we're saying is, "Where's our God?
Right.
Where is he?"
Right.
And it's just amazing to me.
Don't understand exactly what's going on, and so we love the stories and the history and all that, but then we look around like, well, are you sure? I think he's gone. I don't think he's with us anymore.
Are you sure we are these?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. You sure about that? Like,
Yeah.
You know, it's like, well, where are the miracles? Where's all the? We've heard all these great, fantastic stories, but I'm not seeing it because right now I'm hiding in the cave.
Yeah.
I haven't experienced any.
Exactly. Which is just interesting, right? So you hear, you see the
I'm
information.
sorry to imagine our forefathers, like in 1619,
19. Oh
when
yeah.
they were enslaved. Like
That's right.
I'm sure they're on the ship.
Yeah.
You know, the
Yeah.
way they were on the ship. I'm
Yeah.
sure they were saying like,
Yes. How is it?
like,
How are
where
we?
is
Crying
God?
out.
Where
That's
is
right.
our
Crying
God?
out.
That's
Oh,
it.
man.
You know,
That's it.
the same thing.
Absolutely.
Same thing. The
Yeah.
story just keep going
Absolutely.
on and on and on.
That's right.
And it's amazing we don't see ourselves in this book.
Right, because this is who else fits this bill?
Who else
fits this bill?
Like, why do we have to beg people to actually see
See
yourself
yourself.
in this book?
strong delusion is out there with our people. Strong
Yeah.
delusion. Yeah.
Yes.
So, because it's very plain and clear,
It-
right?
it is.
Exactly who it is. When he's speaking about, I don't know what's happening. The condition I see me and my family in, I don't see how God is here. 'Cause
Yeah.
I don't understand it.
And you know, rightfully so, that human aspect, right? It's hard. Look at the condition today. Even when we tell people, you know who you are, they look around them and they're like, nah, it can't be me.
Yeah.
It can't. Look at our living conditions. Look at our
Yeah.
communities.
Right.
This cannot be us. And
Right.
but so much more so. Looking around, that's the reason why it is us.
That's right. 100%. 100%. That's right. Exactly.
Especially when we understand, like, okay, yeah, we disobeyed. So
Yeah. And unfortunately, this is the condition we find ourselves in most of the time.
Yes.
In some form of enslavement. Right?
Yes.
Yeah, some form. And again, from the very first verse, because the children of Israel did evil in the sight of the Lord.
Yes.
Right? And again, not having the character of Abraham. That's why it's so important for us to really focus on that. So here's Gideon having this experience. And his first thought, again, he's being honest. He's just saying, hey, he just been like, oh, yeah, okay, cool, whatever. But he's like, no, I don't know. He's asking that question, right? And 14, go to 14. And the Lord looked upon him and said, go in this thy might, and thou shalt save Israel from the hand of the Midianites. Have not I sent thee? He said, you're going to do it. It's not like Moses, right? He's like, I'm going to do it? Like,
are you sure? I know there's somebody else.
yeah,
I know.
I'm just out here, you know. And he said unto him, oh, my Lord, wherewith shall I save Israel? Behold, my family is poor, Manasseh, and I am the least in my father's house. I think that's so interesting, right? How the God of Israel, so many times, you know, doesn't pick the one who looks like he's the strongest or biggest or whatever, right? But it's the one he chooses.
The scholar.
Yeah,
Choose
just
that one.
that's right.
Because
Just
if you do it, they'll know it's not really
exactly,
you, it's me.
exactly. That's right. That's right. You really
Yes.
understand.
Yes.
To really understand, you know. And the Lord said unto him, surely I will be with thee, and thou shalt smite the Midianites as one man. Wow. Wow. Okay. So it goes on, and you know, he goes. So this is Gideon having this experience. He's you know, he doesn't understand, right? But he's obedient. Right. He's going along. He understands, and he probably don't agree. He's like, I don't know if I'm the right guy for this, but he still is obedient, right? And so he goes. Again, read the whole chapter, but just for time, he goes on and he tries to you know, get some food for the angel, but eventually he finds out, oh yeah, okay, he's an angel. Okay, he perceived it as an angel. I'm gonna jump down to 23. And the Lord said unto him, peace be unto thee, fear not, thou shalt not die, right? Because he was like, oh my goodness, I've seen an angel, I'm gonna die.
Yeah.
I said, fear not. Then Gideon built an altar there unto the Lord and called it Jehovah Shalom. Unto this day it is yet an offer of the Abizites. And it came to pass the same night, the Lord said unto him, take thy father's young bullock, even the second bullock of 7 years old, and throw down the altar of Baal that thy father has, and cut down the grove that is by it, and build an altar unto the Lord thy God, and upon the top of this rock, in the ordered place, and take the second bullock and offer a burnt sacrifice with the wood of the grove, which thou hast cut down. And so then Gideon, so these instructions that he has. Again, he's not probably clearly understanding everything, but he's just taking in information and doing it, right? So when he does it, this sort of establishes him, the people in the town, number one, you're Israelites.
Right.
Why do you have an altar of Baal
Right.
in your dwelling? But he tears it down. The people get a little angry, like, who did that to this thing? Yeah. And so he's sort of establishing himself as like, we're now going to go a different direction,
Right.
because this is why we're impoverished,
Yeah.
right? So, all right. So then, let's jump down a little bit then. Let's see. Okay, I'm going to go down to 33, right? So we're on chapter 6, and we're going to go down to 33. Then all the Midianites and the Amalekites and the children of the east were gathered together and went over and pitched in the valley of Jezreel. But the Spirit of the Lord came upon Gideon, and he blew a trumpet, and Abiezer was gathered after him. And he sent messengers throughout all Manasseh, who also was gathered after him. And he sent messengers unto Asher, and unto Zebulun, and unto Naphtali. They came up to meet him. And Gideon said unto God, if thou wilt save Israel by mine hand, as thou hast said, so this is the part, behold, I will put a fleece of wool in the floor, and if the dew be on the fleece only, and be dry upon all the earth beside, then shall I know that thou wilt save Israel by mine hand, as thou hast said. So, all right. So, again, he got the instructions to get started out. First, knock down the altar of Baal, sacrifice unto the God of Israel. We'll get that started. And then now it's time. So the Spirit came upon him. Now it's time. Blow your trumpet. Right? Now, if you're in Israel, you understand what that means, right? That's time for attention, right? It's time for something's happening, right? In both the physical and the spiritual. Something's happening, right? So people came. They listened. They're like, yes, I'm with you. Let's do something, right? So now he's there. Everyone's gathered to him. So instead of saying, let's go, he's like, okay, God of Israel, just to make sure, I want to make sure, I'm going to do this thing, right? I'm going to take this fleece, which is like a lamb's wool, a fleece, right? I'm put it out on tonight, and when I wake up in the morning, if that's wet and the ground is dry, then I know that, So it's, to me, I don't know. That's just, is he doubting? Is he fearful? Is he like?
I think it's like what I said at the beginning with Abraham. He was just a man, right?
Right.
He was just a man.
Right.
And now out of nowhere, I mean, he heard about his forefathers.
Yeah.
Right? But they've been in this state for what?
That's right. Hearing about it and doing it. Two
It's
different
two
things.
things.
That's right. That's
Right?
right. Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't say he didn't have faith, because he did break down the
and he blew the trumpet.
and he
That's
did
right.
everything.
He did that.
But now he's at a point where all these people
Put up
is
a
in
shut
front
up.
of
That's
him.
right. That's right.
You know,
Put up a shut up.
like
That's right.
everybody's in front of him, and now looking to him
Yeah.
for guidance. He was like, "Wait a minute."
Yeah.
Give me 1 second.
I want to make sure. Yeah, before I shut
I'm
this all
doing it
out
right.
there.
Yes.
That's right.
Yes.
That's
So
right.
I think that's just him being a man. I don't think it's him doubting, but it's him dotting his I's and crossing his T's.
Making sure. Absolutely.
And going back to the beginning, right? What stood out for him? What are these miracles
Yeah.
Yes.
that I heard of so
Yes.
much? What are
Right.
these?
Yes, because he's never seen any.
That's right.
Okay, so
Yeah.
Let's do something.
in order for me to, dive into, okay, well, if he does this for me, then I know.
Then I know.
Yes.
Then I know for
Yes.
sure. Then I can
Yes.
go. So
Yes.
I'm with you. I want to go ahead and do that, but I'm
Because I mean, the angel of the Lord came.
Yeah, you saw that.
Yeah, that's like, okay.
Yeah.
Yes,
But like
And
you
that's what
said,
I love these stories.
absolutely, it's so real.
Because it is,
It's so
right?
real.
Because
Absolutely.
now we could say, well,
Yeah.
no angel visits
That's
me.
right. That's
You know,
right. That's
I
right.
don't see an angel
That's right.
appearing to
That's
me.
right.
But he had that.
He had that.
But he still,
Exactly.
you know?
That's right.
So,
But that's us. Think
Yes.
in your own life. How many times you said, God of Israel, if you do this, whatever.
I don't know. I don't know that you're
Yeah, that's right. And then that time, that issue passes
Yes.
and everything wrong. And
Yes.
then not too long after, you're like,
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know. If you're here, I don't know,
was it
baby.
there? Was that the answer?
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Chance.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You guys can relate. Come on.
Yes.
Put sevens in there.
Yes.
You guys can relate. Come on. Like that's what I love about the scripture. Again, it's not.
Yes.
These are not some great deities. These are men.
Yeah.
These are our family, our flesh and blood, and they go through those same, challenges in their life.
Yeah.
That's put
Yes.
before them, and
Yeah.
so what makes Gideon so great is not that what he accomplished. It's what he accomplished despite having the
Exactly.
frailties that we all
Yes.
have.
Yeah.
So don't think you have to be a superhuman.
Yeah.
Just
I
putting
know.
one foot in front of the other,
Mhm.
being obedient, as we said, define obedient. You don't have to understand or
Yes.
agree, but you're being
Agree.
obedient
Do it.
and committed to the God of Israel and to this family.
Yes.
That's it. That's all required of you. That's all required of you, right? Just keep putting the stuff in front of each other. It's okay. We're gonna make mistakes. He made mistakes, right?
Yeah.
Abraham made mistakes. Moses made mistakes. It's okay. Well, none of us perfect, but we are perfectly committed.
Yes.
Perfectly
Amen.
committed to this family and to the God of
Amen.
Israel. That's the goal. And so Gideon is that same way, and it's okay, right? I think it's okay, right?
Yeah.
And he's sort of like, okay, do that, So, and the God of Israel, so let's see what happens, right? So, and so where am I at? 38. And it was so, for he rose up early on the morrow, and thrust the fleece together, and wringed the dew out of the fleece, a bowl full of water. Right? So you can imagine he's like, oh, okay, that's my sign.
That's it.
She'd be like, okay, that's it. Now I'm good. I can go.
I'm passionate. I got
Yeah,
passion.
no, but Gideon, not quite. Not quite. Right? He's like, okay. See, I think what's going on inside of him, right? There's gotta be. There's gotta be a little fear, a little whatever. And I think it's a good point that you mentioned earlier. Okay, so for him to believe, for him to say, okay, yes, but now he has men behind him, with him. So he has to like, I'm responsible for them, right? I mean, I blew the horn, they all came to me. Right? They didn't come to God of Israel, they came to me. You know what I'm saying? And so they're waiting for me for instructions and for strength and for me giving, hey, that
to go out
I gotta
there
be excited about what we're doing. Like we're gonna win. I can't be like, okay, they could be okay. Like, I gotta know for sure, right? I gotta give it off. So we all could do that. So you can see there's another level, right? And it's just leadership. Right? Leadership is not about telling people what to do, but it's understanding that you have to be that model, and you have to really have that in you to do that. Not just a title, but you got to be able to, really
show it.
Exactly, 100%. And so, okay, but so he wants to be absolutely sure. So verse 39, and Gideon said unto God, let not thine anger be hot against me, and I will speak but this once. Let me prove, I pray thee, but this once with the fleece. Let it now be dry upon the fleece, and upon the ground let there be dew. And God did so that night, for it was dry upon the fleece only, and there was dew on all the ground. So, I don't know.
Double check.
Exactly, just making sure.
Just making sure. And you know what I love about this the most is that the God of Israel understood it.
Yeah.
The God of Israel understood.
Yeah.
And it was like, okay, I'll do this.
Yeah.
I understand the reservations you have.
Yeah.
And that's, like you said, it's going back to, we're human.
Yeah.
And he understands.
Yes.
But like you said, being perfectly committed to the God of Israel.
Yeah.
Is what, okay, I understand, you're afraid, you have this going on. But just, I have to know that you're 100% with me.
Yeah.
Right.
And I'm going to take care of it.
That's right.
And it's always just that.
He was ready to go. He put the work in.
Absolutely.
That's
it. Put the work in. Yeah, he's ready. Now he just got to build up his confidence.
Courage.
But what that also speaks to is a little difference from Abraham. Abraham had that built up all his life.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
He's had that, that relationship all the way through, right? This is his first time.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's the first time he's given an instruction like, okay, do this. So
Yeah.
he's like, Abraham was good.
Yeah.
He knew kind of along the way as things would be revealed to him that, okay.
And he wasn't a leader in his community, too. He was the least among them.
Right.
So this was a big
Which
flip.
even more so.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Even more, because they're like that.
Yeah.
Who
Like that.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So of course,
exactly. Absolutely. So now he's good.
Yeah, ready to go.
He's good, ready to go. Okay. But now, if we jump down to chapter 7, right? And 2. And the Lord said unto Gideon, chapter 7, verse 2. And the Lord said unto Gideon, the people that are with thee are too many for me to give the Midianites unto thy hand, lest Israel vaunt themselves against me, saying, my own hand has saved me. Now therefore, go to proclaim in the ears of the people, saying, whoever is fearful and afraid, let him depart early from Mount Gilead, and there return unto the people 22,000, and there remained 10,000. Right? So again, God of Israel wants to make sure, I guess to the enemies too, but I think more so to us,
Israel.
to Israel,
Yes.
understand I am the
Yes.
one that is doing this. I picked Gideon, who is least, who's again, he's the least, he's not sure, but he's the least. And but now, and I think it's a great thing, all these individuals who were fearful. Don't forget, it's not like one army against another army. We were hiding in caves from these people.
Yeah.
Right? We were hiding from them. And that's a very, we're talking about what's happening in like one sentence, but understand the violence that's taking place in order to make that happen. Right? I mean, right? We are not just us, but it's our men and our big men and our elders and all of us and our women and our children are hiding from these people. What are they doing to us to make us do that?
Imagine the mindset. This is, again, with Egypt, we know the history.
Yeah.
We have that history, and look at how it's surrounding us.
Yeah.
You imagine how demoralizing that was.
Absolutely, that's right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It wasn't just like for a day or 2 days, right? This happened for 7 years.
And they were in the thousands.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, it wasn't a few hundred people.
That's right. That's right.
They were in the thousands.
That's right.
And can you imagine when the instruction was given?
Yeah.
Whoever's afraid, they can go ahead and go.
Yeah, can you
Can I go?
Exactly. So just for time, we'll go through, just read chapter 7, read the whole thing. The God of Israel dwindles it all the way down until he has 300 men. So you know the movie The 300? That's the crap. That's crap. That's our story.
Yes.
That's our story. He gets it down to 300 men. Right?
Only thing, Gideon wasn't the strongest.
Right.
And he wasn't a fighter.
Right. Right.
Which goes back to the angel coming and saying, "Mighty man of valor."
That's right. That's right.
Who?
Yes,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'm just here getting my weed, trying to fish my weed.
Yeah.
So, I'm gonna jump down to verse 7, chapter 7, verse 7. And again, he went through all these various things about dwindling it down. And verse 7, the Lord said unto Gideon, by the 300 men that lapped will I save you, and deliver the Midianites unto thine hand, and let all the other people go every man into his tent. So the people took victuals in their hand and their trumpets, and he sent all the rest of Israel, every man into his tent, and retained those 300 men, and the host of Midianites was beneath them in the valley. Right? So, again, you're Gideon all the way along. You have to admit, I don't think I understand.
Oh no,
I don't agree, whatever. But he was obedient, right? He was obedient. And just like Abraham too, just having that conversation with God was like, I'm not sure. Are you sure? But he's still obedient. And he has those men with him. Now he's dwindling it down to 300 men. You can imagine, against these millions of...
That's not even looking for their enemy, man.
No.
They're just laughing away.
I know, exactly.
Like, if you think about it,
That's
these
right.
are 300 of the weakest.
That's
the
right.
weakest,
That's
the
right.
weakest of the...
Of all of them.
10,000?
10,000, there was 20,000 before.
And
Go back.
They were just oblivious. Like, we can just...
And you
Imagine being there with Gideon and just wondering, are you
I was
sure
just
that's what he said?
Imagine how strong he had to be in the face of them.
Yes.
For them to say,
Right.
hey, I don't know about this, and he got to be like, yeah, come on, guys,
That's
and
Too many. It's too many.
internally he has to be going, I don't know, I don't know about this.
Well, yeah, this is a real person. It's okay.
Yes.
We're not like, we're not some other guy. This is in our family. So we're understanding him and understanding the character that it takes to be successful. Right?
Yes.
And so knowing everything, it doesn't mean what it takes to be successful. We don't see that.
No.
That wasn't the key. He didn't know everything, right? It wasn't knowledge the thing, but it was his humility. It was his leadership, right? And then it also was being able to be honest with the God of Israel and have that conversation with him, so he can build up his strength. It's almost like we talk about self-analysis. Know where your weak parts are and discuss with the God of Israel to build up those weak parts.
Yeah, yes.
Right? And be honest with yourself, and no one of us is perfect, but we build those up inside of us. So he's trying to build up his confidence. He's trying to build up because he knows, not just for himself, but for his men. Especially now he got 300. You gotta make sure. Right? You gotta really be. So, but it continued, right?
But he's still going on now.
That's what I'm saying. It's
You
gonna
know?
continue. He's still going.
This is all happening. He's probably still like, oh my gosh, but he's still going on.
Obedient, and he's still doing it to the best of his ability.
Exactly.
Because he understands that, right? That he has to be obedient. Okay, 9, right? It's not over yet. And it came to pass that same night that the Lord said unto him, arise, get thee down into the host, for I have delivered it into your hand. But if thou fear to go down, go thou with Phurah thy servant down to the host, and thou shalt hear what they say. And afterwards shall thy hand be strengthened to go down into the host. Then went he down with Phurah his servant unto the outside of the armed men that were in the host. And the Midianites and the Amalekites and all the children of the east lay along in the valley like grasshoppers. Look how many that must be. For a multitude, and their camels were without number, as the sand of the sea for multitude. They got 300.
Wow.
Yeah. But he's just going down. The God of Israel says, I'm gonna do it now, but if you still need strength, you just go. You and your servant and you'll see,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so he didn't see it yet. So he's like, I don't know what I'm supposed to see. 13, and when Gideon was come, behold, there was a man that told a dream unto the fellow, and said, Behold, I dreamed a dream, and lo, a cake of barley bread tumbled into the host of Midian, and came into a tent, and smote it that it fell, and overturned it, and the tent lay along. And this fellow answered and said, This is nothing else save the sword of Gideon, and the son of Joash, a man of Israel. For into his hand has God delivered Midian and all the host. He's overhearing this dream from them. That's right, exactly. So now that's for me.
Yeah, it's like, imagine that what that confidence did.
Absolutely, yeah.
And you talking about just that, whew.
And he didn't have to ask again for another sign.
No,
no,
that was it.
It's okay.
That
I'm
was
going to
it.
give you an extra boost here. Yeah.
So 15, and it was so when Gideon heard the telling of the dream and the interpretation thereof, that he worshipped. Can you imagine him saying, thank you. Thank you. I get it now. I get it now. Thank you.
Yes.
Right, he worshipped and returned into the host of Israel. Can you imagine his excitement? Hey, get up! It's time. Let's go. Can you imagine? Absolutely. And the interpretation thereof, that he worshipped and returned into the host of Israel and said, Arise, for the Lord has delivered into our hand the host of Midian. And so it goes through how he arrayed the battle, right, in that night. And he won. He kicked, not only did he beat them in the battle, he chased them out of the land of Israel. It went on for days, chasing them all the way out. Because if you look at the geography where he is, he's actually in the northern part, right? And then he chased them all the way through other tribes, all the way back down.
To the point where his brethren were jumping in and saying,
yes,
get him out of here.
That's right. Absolutely. Read the rest of the chapter. It's such amazing.
Beautiful.
Absolutely.
Beautiful.
So he asked more questions then.
Yes.
He knows exactly. God, it's a miracle, right?
Exactly.
God is with us.
Can you imagine, right? And we know, right, for Israel's sake, what that did for just the 300 and forgive me.
Yes.
And for the rest of the congregation to see
Absolutely.
this.
Can you imagine?
Right.
Where it was just like, our God, this is our God
That's right.
that took us out of Egypt.
That's
I
right.
really
did this
believe
for us.
this was for us.
Absolutely.
Oh, yes.
Absolutely.
It was so for us because there were at a time where, as Gideon said, we haven't seen anything.
Nothing, exactly.
We don't know anything.
That's right.
We heard the stories.
We heard
stories, that's it.
But
beautiful.
Yeah.
why are we the way we are right now? So
That's
this
right.
was the God of Israel showing them that, I have not forsaken you.
Absolutely.
I still got you.
100%. Yes.
Oh,
Still
this-
got you.
Yes.
This is it's beautiful.
And so read the whole chapter. And the people are so excited. As a matter of fact, later on they say, Gideon, be our king.
Yes.
Be our king, Gideon, be our king. And he says, no, the God of Israel will say, I will not be your king. I will not rule over you.
Always want a king.
That's right. But the point is,
Humility.
well, that's what I'm saying,
Yes.
all the way through, right?
Yes.
He could have took that position.
Yeah.
But again, the character of Abraham, right?
Yeah.
Understand humility and the whole perspective of everything. No, it's not about me, right? Not about that, but it's about just have that feeling of being able to free my people. Like the work that we do is none of us get paid for this. None of us, we're not here to say, hey, do what we do, we're smarter than you. Nothing like that. But just to have a part of freeing our people out of our enslavement, that's thanks enough.
Yes.
And it's all
That's
about
purpose, right?
all about Israel.
Absolutely.
From the beginning of this story, from the very beginning, the children did evil in the sight of the Lord. To the very end of this story,
Yes.
it's all about Israel. These other nations, they did not matter. It didn't matter who the nation was.
Exactly. That's right.
Didn't matter.
That's right.
It was all about
That's
return unto me.
Yes.
To be his children, to be for him to be our God.
Yes.
It's about the God of Israel. That's
Amen.
it.
And,
Nothing
and,
else.
and even like we said, from before to now, today to tomorrow, it's the same thing.
Absolutely.
Return unto our God.
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen. One more quick story. Hopefully we can jump it in here. You think a little bit?
I don't know.
No, there's not going to be an Abraham part 3.
No.
Summarize it. Let's summarize
yes,
it.
we will summarize the next story, which is about Solomon.
Yeah.
It's another great man, one of our forefathers, the wisest, as it says. Let's turn to 1 Kings 2.
Okay.
And I'm going to read from 1 to 4.
Okay.
Now, we just did Gideon, and Gideon didn't know anything about, he didn't have the structure about, Israel, or probably his dad telling him,
living in
what to
caves
do.
and
Exactly. For him, it was just like bedtime stories, what he heard,
Yeah.
right? This story is totally different. It says in 1 Kings 2, starting from 1, now the days of David drew nigh that he should die, and he charged Solomon his son, saying, I go the way of all the earth. Be thou strong, therefore, and show thyself a man, and keep the charge of the Lord thy God, to walk in his ways, to keep his statutes and his commandments and his judgments and his testimonies, as it is written in the law of Moses, that thou mayest prosper all that they do, and whatsoever thou turnest thyself, that the Lord may continue his word which he spake concerning me, saying, if thy children take heed to his way, to walk before me in truth, with all their heart and with all their soul, they shall not fail thee, said he, a man on the throne of Israel.
Amen.
Right? So we see Solomon, David's son, David, great guy. We all know David's story.
Yes.
We all know Solomon's story also. And we see him passing this knowledge down to his son. Like, you're going to continue. But it's not about being a king. Right? It's not about being a king. Your foundation, your success,
yes.
everything comes from you doing these, following these steps.
That's right.
Right? Following these steps.
In order to be successful, and what I love about this so much, right, is, I mean, of course we can visualize it, right, of everything that could be said when you know that, the time is coming where, you're the past.
Right.
And what he's telling him, this is the way to life.
Right.
Yes.
This is what you must do.
Yes.
That you will not fail.
Right.
Like that to me is, because you can imagine, right? He know what the next steps are.
Right.
But he's telling, if you do this, you will absolutely not fail.
Fail.
Right.
Exactly.
Amen.
Exactly.
That always just jumped out to me because it's that, like we were just talking about with Gideon, right? And understanding that, what do we have to do? What do we have to do? And to have that and just to go about that. And again, right, we know, right, David's character, right, just, his story is just, oh my goodness. But we see how much so that characteristic, right, that flowed through David, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And onto Solomon.
Yes.
Amen.
So much so, right, to be obedient, right, to know, to sit there, right, because you were familiar with the story, to do these things.
Right.
So much the things that he wanted to do, to even accomplish the things that his father wanted to do.
Exactly. Because we also know Solomon built the house, right?
That's right. Absolutely.
He built the temple. He
That's
did
right.
the thing that David couldn't do.
Right.
With all his greatness, Solomon accomplished this.
Amen.
Right? And Solomon was great. Because of time,
Yes.
I'm not going to read what I have to read.
They summarize.
But in 1 Kings 3, it said the God of Israel asked him, what do you want?
Isn't that something? I know.
What do you want?
Yeah, so anything you want.
Anything
you
Yes.
want.
Anything.
So the God of Israel came to Solomon and
Yes.
said, tell me.
Tell me.
Anything you want.
What can I give you?
Yeah.
And he asked for wisdom.
Wisdom. Amen.
Like,
Wisdom to
what
lead this
greater?
people.
That's right.
Yes.
To lead it.
Yes. And he knew what he was getting into.
Yeah. He's so happy.
That's right.
That's right.
He knew exactly what he was getting into
The most
when
humble
he
request.
asked for wisdom.
Amen.
And the God of Israel blessed him.
Yes, we know.
Of course, we could read Solomon's story.
Yes,
We all know Solomon's
Proverbs
story.
and even the one out
it's-
there talks about the wisest
The
man.
right,
ever
wisest
lived.
man, yes.
Yeah.
But also this wisest man, my thing is, in Israel, we can't ever lose focus.
Yeah.
Being an Israelite, I mean, we see it in all the stories.
Yeah.
Can't ever lose focus. You could be as wise, and you could be, I don't know, you could think you got it all down,
Mm-hmm.
but one step,
Yeah.
and everything could be wiped away,
Yeah.
just like that.
Yeah.
And we see that with Solomon,
Yes.
Just
Yeah.
losing focus.
Yes.
just losing focus after all the great thing, and even because the Bible says there was no one before him or after him as
Yeah.
wise.
That's right.
That's some wisdom.
Absolutely.
That's
Absolutely.
That
I mean,
is
you read the
some-
Proverbs, you see that, right? You read
Oh,
that,
yeah.
and you
Oh,
can
yes.
see that.
Yes.
There's so much there. Ecclesiastes and all
Yes.
that, just all that. You see that.
So
Son
much
of
so
Solomon. Yeah.
that you have queens, other nations are like,
Come
who
into
are these
yeah,
people?
Yes.
come into
And
like
that
bringing
God.
riches just to an
Mhm.
option to sit in your audience,
Mhm.
Yes,
right?
who is their God? You know what? You guys have the greatest God
Yeah.
that there is.
That's
Exactly.
it, right?
You
That's
guys,
it.
this
Mission accomplished.
is just the most amazing thing that we have ever seen. Take
yes,
all our gold, take
Yes.
everything.
yes,
That right there is just, like you said, building a nation.
That's it. That's it.
Building that nation in order to be successful, like
Yes.
to serve our God effectively.
Yes.
Like you said, so much so that all the nations of all the earth
That's
will
right.
come
yes,
and just marvel and just
That's right.
exactly.
That's right. So I think is that something that people can relate with. People that are watching this right now, right? Those that are on this path
Mhm.
to just getting to understanding about who we are as Israel, understanding that's where we're shooting for. That's the promise.
Yes,
That's the promise right there.
It is the
And that's what I love about
promise.
Solomon's story is it is the ultimate example
Mhm.
of what happens when things are going right.
Yes,
yes.
and when
What
things
happens?
are going wrong.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh yeah, it gets there. But there's a period where
Yes.
we're like, this
Yes.
is everything working the way it's
Yes.
supposed to work. It's
Oh yeah,
Yes.
there's the peace. There's
Absolutely,
peace
yes.
Yes.
That's
throughout
right.
everything. Can you imagine
Oh, my
at
gosh.
this time
Yeah.
to be an Israelite? You
That's
walk
right.
around just the proudness, just the
Yes.
everything. Look, there's our temple.
That's right.
Look how fine it is.
That's right.
Look at what's around. Look at our
Everything.
colors.
That's
Look
right.
at it. Just
Look at our children, right? Look at
And
that.
it's attainable,
Look at
but-
that. That's right. Gotta start
But-
with start with the instruction his father gave him.
Yes.
Right? That's right.
going all
Have
the way
to
back.
start with self.
That's
Going-
right.
It does have to start with self.
Yeah.
It's
Right?
amazing that right, and I know that for time's sake, right, we're in there, but it's amazing that David went back to Moses, right,
Yes.
and which we started from the beginning, right, to say
Mhm.
Moses was
Family.
laying the foundation for
Yeah.
it to get to this.
That's
point.
right. That's right. Yes.
From that day when he stepped foot into go
Yes.
back to Egypt,
Yes.
this was the ultimate goal.
Yes.
This is what he wanted it to
To
be.
build up that nation.
Yes.
Absolutely. Yes. Yes. Yes.
It's simply amazing.
Yes. But what I do want, I mean, Solomon is great. We all know, I think everybody knows Solomon's story.
Sure.
What we sometimes skip over is that Solomon was a wise king, is that he also fell, you know? He also
Made
did
mistakes.
evil in
Yeah.
the sight of the God of Israel.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Even
It's hard to
being-
even say,
it,
right?
it
It
really
is.
is.
Yeah,
It really
But
is.
this is a
It really
this ain't
is.
some guy. This is
But,
our grandfather
yeah.
that we're talking about.
But it also tells you that, you know, we're not exempt,
Right.
right?
We have to
We're not
learn. We
exempt.
have to
And
learn from
because
that.
we're not exempt, we have to be more
Yeah.
diligent
Right.
in how we serve the God
Right.
of Israel.
That's
You
right.
know, in how we do our new moons
That's
and
right.
our, you
That's
know,
right.
like it said in Isaiah, it's not just okay to say, oh, I'm gonna observe new moon and Sabbath and
Right.
you know, atonement. You know, it's not
What
that-
does it mean if it's in vain, right?
exactly.
And then I know one thing
Exactly.
we always speak about is it's okay, right? We're Israel, right? We feel good, right? You know, we know who we are. These are our fathers, right? The responsibility that comes along with it.
Right.
It's not just to say I'm an Israelite.
Mm-hmm.
It's to say that we are leaders. We
That's
are
right.
teachers.
That's
This
right.
is what we do.
Yes.
Right.
And we can never lose sight of that.
Not just with words, but with ourselves.
Yes,
Right.
yes.
That's right.
And it goes all the way back to the seed of Abraham.
That's right.
Abraham from the beginning
Right.
was a leader,
Yeah.
was a teacher,
Yeah.
and he walked the walk.
That's
Yes.
right.
And
That's right.
Yeah, because when Solomon allowed his wives
Yes.
to lead him,
That's right.
Mhm.
that's when everything went
It
wrong.
went
downfall.
down left. Yeah.
We
Yeah.
are supposed to be leaders.
That's right. That's right.
And you
He
know,
loved many women.
yeah, he did what his father told him not to do.
Pharaoh's daughter
It's just-
and all these other women from
And,
all
yeah.
these nations. And
But also, it didn't just affect Solomon.
yes, that's the sad.
That's the sad part. It
That's
didn't
the sad
just,
part.
it's not, and we have to realize that Israel is not a one-man show.
Yeah,
You know, what you do affect everyone.
family.
absolutely.
Because we are, the God of Israel sees us as one.
100%. Yeah,
He sees us as one.
Yeah.
So when you're going the wrong way, we're all going to suffer for
yeah,
it.
yeah.
Because Solomon's mistake
Yes,
affected the whole nation.
that's right.
Yeah.
And that further speaks to the whole point of us coming together.
Yes,
Right?
the
The
unity.
Israelite journey is not just a one-man thing. If it was a one-man thing, then what you do over here don't affect anybody, right? But the fact is that it does because we all come together as a family, so we're all going to affect one another,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah.
Like some of the examples were given the house that's built together with the bricks, or the body that comes together. Right? That's one body.
Yes.
There's all different pieces and different gifts that come together. A similar thing. And so because Solomon did that, because of what he was, people may not know this, but our nation was actually split.
Yeah.
It was split. So and I say our nation, our family
Yeah.
Was
was split into two.
Yeah.
so much so that we went to war against each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Solomon's son ended up with just one tribe.
Yeah.
And 12 tribes.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's right.
And that was because of David.
Right.
It wasn't because of,
Solomon,
you know,
yeah.
it wasn't
That's
because
right,
of
that's right.
Solomon.
But it's another example, going back to Abraham, about the relationship was so strong, he said, I'm going to make this covenant with you, Abraham, and
His
1,000
thousand
generations.
Yes.
His relationship was so strong with David
Yes.
that even though Solomon messed up, he's like, for David's sake, I'm going to
I'll give you one.
I'll keep this, but
Yes.
you know, the others,
Yes.
they're going to go.
Yes.
And we see how that manifests itself. A great
Yes.
story, great
Yes.
story. I know we're getting close to the end of our time. I'm sure we're there now. But I hope you enjoyed us. Again, Seed of Abraham Part 2, where we just wanted to really show examples in our family history where those attributes played out.
Yeah. Yes.
And we can see that they were the determining factor of success or failure.
Yes.
So now in this time, after this 400, as we're on this journey together to understand who we are and how do we apply that knowledge to our lives, we got to use that same criteria. That same criteria, not knowledge. None of this had to do with knowledge, right? You got to have that knowledge for the foundation, but that's only the beginning.
Oh, yes.
It's now how do we apply it to our lives and our character building so that we are able to again be value, you know, to this nation and to the God of Israel and to the rebuilding of this family. That's really our goal, and that's why we're here. So thank you for spending this time with us. Again, please send us your questions, your comments. Please let us know. And again, thank you for this time. We want to make sure that we all are on the same page when it comes to the effort that we need to be placing in order for all of us to be successful Israelites. So, peace from the St. Louis branch, and look forward to hearing from you soon. Take care.